Like you think you look at I um like Tupac and Biggie, for instance. They were young when they died, right? When they were murdered, right?
Yeah.
They were
24,
only
25,
20,
right?
24, 25. Look at the 24 and 25-year-olds now. Look at how they move. Look at how they conduct themselves.
Mm.
Look at Malcolm X when he died, when he was assassinated. Look how old he
What
was. Look how he was moving. Look how the
was he,
Ghetto
about
Brothers was
33?
moving. hmm And look how the Ghetto Brothers was moving. Look how the Spades were moving. Unified, militant.
Yep.
Like now these kids they getting high. They wearing these. We're not even going to talk about the fashion choices, but they're not even
You
mature enough. The food they eat.
know
How they
what I
have no
don't
They
respect
babies of
for
the
their
crack wars.
parents. Yeah.
what I don't get about youth that's in gangs, right? Like um these street organizations have a purpose, right? Street organizations have a purpose. You join an organization for a certain reason because the history or what they stand for aligns with your heart and your soul. So the youth join an organization that has a natural rival, and right, these youth be cool with the rival and then beef within their own organization today in 2024. And I know this has been going on for a few years, and I know it's sad to say that hip hop, they're using hip hop as a tool for destruction, a tool to beef with one another through drill music. And I don't want to single it out because I listen to some of the foolishness at times and enjoy street music. And I don't want to call drill foolishness, but just anything that's negative, right? I consider to me foolish because it's influential. Anything that causes influence and sends somebody down the wrong path, that could lead to destruction is foolishness to me. You know what I'm saying? And I like music, that street music. We all grew up on Mobb Deep and all of that. But with these youth, right? How do you befriend people that's supposed to be in a rival gang to your organization, but yet y'all beefing amongst your own gang, own hood, own community? To me, that's the first thing that y'all got to remedy is find unity and peace within your own street organization.
Absolutely.
Find that, and then you could have unity with former rivals, because all of this is it's just ego and pride. That's the reality of it all. I've had plenty of beef, street gang beef, and it's all fueled by the ego, and it's all fueled by pride. If you take away the ego and the pride, and I think I heard Prism, Zulu King Prism, shout out to Zulu King Prism from Chosen Zulu. He's the one that talked about all this ego and pride stuff, and it really just kind of stuck in my mind. And I really thought about all the foolishness that I've experienced in my youth. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Like we was all doing it for to prove who's the strongest or who's the toughest. And you know what? All that pain and all that beef don't mean nothing now. Nobody even remembers it. Nobody talks about it. So it was all in vain. Because the opposition is still here.
Right.
Everybody is still here. Who's winning? Nobody. So it's crazy versus what was taking place then. They was fighting for a real cause, and now it's like what we fighting for? Popularity on TikTok, popularity on YouTube.
I wanted to say something real quick. Going back on what you said now, the whole thing about the youth when they join gangs. I noticed the difference between what Zulu Nation had done compared to other street organizations or organizations based on negativity was we pride ourselves in knowing our history, knowing what came before us in order to learn what we're doing now to build for the future. And, that also goes back into hip hop as well, where once I learned about hip hop, I didn't just learn and go forward. I went back. So I studied, I learned what came before the era
Right.
that I got into. But I also say that to say that a lot of times the youth, they're so lost in their history because you have people that are joining gangs, and a lot of times the only thing they know is, oh, I'm beefing with them because they're either from this street, or I'm beefing with them because they wear this color. they don't even know the history of the beef. They don't even know the history of the organization to know whether it was something based on building of the community. Because once the leadership goes to prison or they're gone, they just run them up because there's no one to keep them on the straight and narrow.
Right, right. Right. Me and Just P had the privilege of watching the Black Spade screening about 2 months ago in Harlem, and we had the privilege of being up there with some of the legends. Peace to Charlie Rock, peace to Tiny from the Black Spades, peace to Mitch Blood Green, peace to all the original Spades. Man, it was an honor to be around the originals and hearing their story. And there was a brother Guru, and I don't know if Guru is Rob O, but Guru, according to the film, they said the brother Guru was speaking in there, and he said he is the founder of the Spades along with David Brockington. And you know they passed it off to Monk as the supreme president at some time, and they also had some members that were a part of the Savage Seven that were like I guess they according to them the Savage Seven yet did turn into the Spades, but they never consider that to be a part of the Spade lineage. The Spades were the Spades, although it derived from the Savage Seven, according to what the movie was. You know what I mean? And what the brother Guru said, I believe it was one of the Golden Guineas. What was that? The Italian gang?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Golden
The
Guineas, right?
I believe the Golden Guineas. I don't know if the brother was Savage Seven or Black Spade or just a brother in the community, but somebody was cut by the Golden Guineas, and that propelled them to start and activate the Black Spades. They was tired of the oppression, tired of the bullying, the racism, and I believe that the brother Guru was telling a story where when the brother got cut or whatever, the Spades went to go handle that. They went to go fight, and while they was fighting the Golden Guineas, one of the um one of the Italian mothers of the Golden Guineas was in the window saying, "Kill that N." So that's to show you the environment that these brothers was coming up in before white flight. They was dealing with some real racism that they were battling,
Hmm.
in addition to all the problems that were in the community already. Like, so it was crazy times. Yeah. I got to reach out to Tiny, but I believe that the film that was presented will be in distribution at some point. You know what I mean? But I know this was created by themselves, and they
Mm,
had this. I think about 2 or 3 screenings in Magic Johnson Theater in Harlem, and the last one that they did, which was the last screening, that was the one a couple of the Zulus popped out, and we showed respect and just to take in the story, and it was legendary. I mean, I left feeling so strong, you know what I mean, to be connected. To be Zulu is to be connected to the Black Spades. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? We're carrying the legacy of the Black Spades. And, I know they're still moving. Like I said, they're strong. They're strong. They are not over. Them brothers are still moving, right? But to me, we're the younger Zulus at that, right? So we're gonna carry that story, and the traditions, you know what I'm saying, into the future. We're gonna teach the young Zulus. We're gonna teach the public too. Now we got this platform where we could reach the masses where they didn't have access to the true hip hop education. And not to say that we're scholars, we're just young Zulus that been there and learned from the pioneers. We don't know it all, but we're striving to know as much as we can, and we're striving to teach it to y'all.
and
I,
whatever
You know
we
what I
don't
mean?
know, we can get those that were
Firsthand.
there. We could get the firsthand info,
Right,
and we could possibly
right,
get them on here too.
right.
Because you're in touch with a lot of them, and
Yeah,
when
I
we
mean,
used
I
to
would
go to
love to.
anniversaries, they
Yeah,
they love us. They
yeah.
like Karate
Rest in
Charlie.
peace, Dynamite.
Right? Absolutely, absolutely.
Rest in peace, Dynamite from the Black
Yeah,
Spades.
yeah.
The elder spades really embraced us at all these
Mm-hmm.
Zulu anniversaries. We got the opportunity to chill with them, hang with them, drink some spade juice. You know what I mean?
Right,
We
right,
we actually,
right.
that was like
Facts.
a privilege. You know what I mean? That you could
Right.
share a drink called spade juice with them. We weren't
Yep.
even worthy of having the
I ain't
drink.
gonna front- Yo,
You know what I'm saying?
I ain't hated it in a minute, but when you first put up that post, I was like,
Yeah.
they gonna check that film out
You
or
were there
whatever.
in
Yo,
spirit. You were there in spirit, though, brother.
no,
Believe
no
it.
doubt, no doubt.
Because
Appreciate
I was taking it all in, and I was thinking about all of us. You know what I'm
it.
saying? Who we are today, 2024. How all of that it flows through our veins.
Yeah,
Because we're a branch off that tree. You know what I mean? We are from that family.
true indeed.
You
You know
should
what I'm
tell us
saying?
that. They used to tell us that at anniversaries. Y'all ain't nothing but baby spades. Dynamite
Right.
used to tell us that.
Right. And
Definitely did.
when we greeted the spades, we were doing the same greeting as the Zulus were. So that's a connection. There's a family connection, a lineage that's connected, and it'll always be honored. You know what I'm
Definitely,
saying?
definitely.
Always be honored.
I want to let y'all know too. I just started streaming again on podcasting, and I did one on the history or whatever, and people were really intrigued with the Black Space because a lot of people don't know about them. So a lot of
Right.
people were really intrigued with their story. They had no idea, boom. And I'm just glad that they have something, like something like 'cause the Ghetto Brothers, Jim Carrey did back Rebel Kings. They got a really nice production out of that. So I'm glad that the
Mm,
Black Spades were able to put something together. I'm
Who'd
real
you
absolutely.
just
ecstatic about
mention?
that, man.
Who was it that you just mentioned?
Huh?
You said Jim who?
Jim Carrey.
The Jim Carrey from In Living Color.
Why? When you look at, I got the Rebel Kings DVD. If you watch, Jim Carrey executively produced that. Show
Wow,
I
did.
that's
think I.
crazy.
Show did. I
Wow,
didn't know he
that's
was that
crazy.
into
I
the
didn't.
culture.
Fire
I didn't know
Marshal
he was.
Bill himself.
Yep.
Fire Marshal Bill.
Word.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
nah,
crazy.
you
I
be
didn't
What,
even
surprised
peep
how he
that.
serves that
Yeah.
what
DVD.
was
I
the
didn't know.
Amazon? What
I
was the
didn't even
Amazon?
peep that.
The Amazon sister that he used to dress up as.
Vera
Yo,
Demaya,
y'all remember that?
Yeah, Vera
Vera,
DeMalo. Yeah, Vera
Yo,
DeMalo.
so wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I
Yo,
yeah,
mean?
man.
he back there. He back there. That blew me
Wow,
away when I saw that. I was like, wow.
wow.
I didn't know
You
Jim was
blew me.
into
That's
that.
You,
crazy.
yeah,
Never know. That's crazy.
you
Ain't it?
surprised me with that one, King.
Ain't it?
Shout
nah,
out to Jim Carrey. Then he must be in tune with the true hip hop culture.
I'm actually
Exactly.
You know what I
not,
Word.
because I
mean?
Exactly.
mean, he came under the
Exactly.
Wayans.
They
But
did,
yeah,
however,
that's true.
they
I
did.
hope Tyreek no Nasheed don't come for Jim Carrey now. You know what I'm
He probably
saying?
Yeah,
will.
yeah. Right, right,
He might
right.
come.
Wait, real quick.
Yeah.
They did, however, say that Lance Taylor wasn't involved with the Zulu Nation at one point. I guess when all the controversy, they did end up putting that statement. And then someone said that to me Saturday. That they wasn't claiming. Bam. And I told that person, I was like, that's not true, because I told them about me going to the premiere and how I seen Zulus there. And then I told them how there was Zulu chapters, I mean Spade chapters in the Zulu Nation at one point, and I can name a bunch of them. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was an interesting thing to run into though. And I do remember seeing that,
R.P.
like
King
wow,
Shah Rim.
King
And
He
Sharon.
was a
again,
spade.
on the Black Space Zulu chapters, because there's people that probably don't know about it. There's probably a lot of Zulus that don't even know, because
Right.
that was something in New York City where there was like unsanctioned Black Spade members running around through the Zulu Nation
Uh-huh.
that represented Black Spades in Zulu Nation.
And Zulu
Wow.
You know,
Nation. Yep.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
Yep.
that
y'all
went
bring
on.
me deep enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that went on in New York City.
Okay.
And,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
and then
saying?
how the
And
whole thing with Gestapo and elite, and then it could turn into spades when it would be shut down and things like that, right? But I mean,
right.
just for that to be out there is like, one, it reminded me that there's just a lot of unsolved and you know what I mean, things that need to be dealt with. And also, I mean, again, that's a tradition that we follow. So it's just funny for that to be called in question at one point. But I do remember around that time, I do remember them seeing. I guess obviously they've obviously recanted or maybe outgrew that. But I do remember them having that statement like Baron wasn't really a spade like that. And
Well, he was a baby Spade. That's definite.
right,
That's
I don't
right, right,
think
right.
absolutely. Yeah,
anybody.
that's
He was a
absolutely.
baby Spade. That's definite.
Wasn't he a
And
warlord at that? Wasn't he a
Yeah.
I
warlord at
believe
one
so.
point?
That
Yeah.
that,
In
that was
10th
the thing
division.
that was
10th division. He
disputed
was
the
a
most.
Right.
River Warlord.
Right.
He was at the gang peace treaty representative. But the thing is, people say so. The president of the Black Spades, I heard at that time, was a person named Bam Bam. That was a
Yeah,
Bam
yeah.
Bam.
high
Right.
We met
ranking
him.
nickname. So that's how that got mixed up with people saying that he was
Right,
actual the
right,
leader
right.
of the Black Spades.
Right,
That
Right.
was a
Right.
exactly,
Right.
big
Because of
exactly.
Bam
mistake.
Bam. I think
Right.
DJ D clarified that on an interview I was watching last night actually.
Mm.
Because I think you mentioned him earlier, King. DJ D, was it Cool D? DJ Cool D?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, right. He definitely mentioned Bam Bam, and I mean, and we all heard Bam Bam's name throughout the years,
I
you
met
know.
Bam
So
Bam numerous
Yeah,
times at
me too,
right,
Zulu
me too. I met
anniversaries.
him
right,
too.
right.
You know what I'm
So
saying? Yeah.
yeah, so
Had the honor of meeting the brother.
Hmm.
Word.
Well spoken, humble warrior. King.
Word.
When sometimes you because like you said, facts. You get they say the Black Spades were notorious. People think that they're savages. No, these brothers were refined. These brothers have wisdom. These brothers were warriors for their community. So them brothers, I mean, Charlie Rock is one of the most intelligent brothers I know in the culture, right? When he speaks about the culture, the brother has a PhD.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So these Spades is intelligent brothers, man, and you know, there's so many misconceptions, man, and I'm glad that we're able to clear some of them up. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't tell the story, who will?
Exactly.
mhm.
Who
Exactly.
will?
Yeah, this is to me one of the most important parts of our culture and history. Also, the Casanovas are Black Spades too, right?
The Casanovas, yeah. Tiny, I think Tiny was the president of the Casanovas, if I'm not mistaken, according to
Okay.
my knowledge. And when they finally recruited him, they talked about this in the Black Spades documentary, where the Spades kept on going to his projects and trying to recruit him. I think they were already had the Casanovas, right? And they were like every day, like, "Yo, you ready to join?" All right, then he say no, and then they have to fight, right? Eventually, he was tired of fighting and tired of running, he said. So eventually, he joined and then he brought that in together. You know what I'm
Word.
And for
saying?
those that don't know, Grandmaster Caz came from that as well, if
I
I'm
believe
not
so, right?
mistaken. Yeah,
Grandmaster
that's where the
Caz,
name.
was he a
That's where
Casanova
I
also?
believe he was a
Yeah,
Casanova. That's where the
that's
name
right.
came from.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
Casanova
yeah,
Fly.
yeah,
right,
Wow.
right.
he's one
Dope.
That's dope. Like
That's
the
real dope.
history is really dope and
It's
it's
really
deep too.
yeah.
It's dope, it's deep, it's rich, it's powerful, and all of that.
Yeah, I love it.
You know,
I love
yeah,
it. I love it.
absolutely. In its truest form, though.
True.
In its truest
Yeah.
form. In the truest form.
Yeah.
Not the stuff that people put out there for the world to think what it is.
Yeah. I've been
You
breaking
know.
that down to a lot of young guys at my job, trying to explain to them what the culture. is versus the
Right.
rap music industry and whatever. I try to get in that history or whatever, and I'm like, no, y'all, what you hip hop in its purest form is actually in the streets. It
Right.
ain't even
Right.
really, yeah, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? It ain't really
It
a
don't.
whole lot of entertainment.
It
It's
don't
about
got
the
nothing to.
people.
Right.
Exactly. It's about
Absolutely.
the end of the day. So, yeah, go ahead.
Unity.
And
Unity.
if you love the culture, you know what I'm saying, and you got somebody that's trying to break up unity and their message doesn't align with the message of hip hop. The message of hip hop is peace, love, unity, and having fun, right? That's what the motto been. That's what the principles are, right? And if that doesn't align with that, then you got to question the messenger and what his motive is, right? And you got to also take it from the source, right? The pioneers that were there. We're not pioneers, but we were taught by the pioneers. We were connected to the pioneers based on our membership in the Zulu Nation, right? So we got to hear the stories firsthand from the brothers that lived it. And now we're telling y'all what we've taken in and what we know based on our firsthand experience and based on our knowledge, the research that we've done on the culture, right? But do your own research. Hit the books. Brother, what's your offstage book? How can brothers get that? Brothers and sisters, how can they get that?
Peace and blessings. Right now it's about to go in stores. I'm about to hit up another campaign. But right now, I'm Jason Kirkman on Facebook. I'm Fats Kirkman on Instagram. So all you got to do for real is DM me, and we'll exchange the Cash App and all that, and I will personally mail it to you. You know what I mean? So that's right now. That's how you can get it. I'll sign it for you and I'll mail it to you. I'm also currently in the midst of a revised version, but I want to get it more out. This version out first. But again, of course, we're still finding the history. We're still learning a lot. So also another book I'll be writing called Set in the Stage, which would be a sequel. And that's this other era that's coming up, that Smokatron's era, that 70 to 74, when a lot of other stuff was going on that has not been mentioned. But yes, you can just you can DM me, Jason Kirkman on Facebook, and I will we can go over the cat and stuff or whatever, and I will sign it and mail it to you. So that's where we at with it right now. So that's how I can get.
I highly recommend the book to all those that want to learn about true hip hop culture and what led to true hip hop culture off stage.
Definitely.
You know
I'm
what I'm
Yeah,
gonna
saying?
get that. I'm
Like,
gonna get me one too.
yeah, I appreciate that. It's the
Definitely.
culture of hip
Yeah.
hop before the elements, and it's just an explanation of what the people of hip hop, not just the elements. That's our artistic expression, and yes, vital part. But what were we doing as people when we weren't doing the elements? And this is the best era of our culture and history. You can find that information. So, yeah, man,
Peace.
man, that's dope.
appreciate
Peace.
that.
Appreciate all your work and your dedication to the culture, man. It's you're building a legacy, and a body of work that's to be respected and remembered forever, man. And I'm proud and honored to have you as our Zulu brother, and also leading the way as a Zulu king for your area, for your chapter, for chapter 30, Solar Flare, Order of the Solar Flare, natives. Big salute, big love, big respect to all of y'all.
I
You know what I
appreciate that. I
mean?
just wanted to add on to this, man. I really appreciate the Zulu Union. Zulu, you know how we do, man.
Lost your visual, King. No, it's black. Yeah, it's all love. All right, I don't want to break your wisdom, but
You were talking
You,
about
you,
the
you,
unity.
you.
yes, sir. Right. You're ready, man. Striving, brother. We striving.
We did, however, break away because it started on what is a chapter. I just now realized that and brought that back.
You know, there's
So
Oh
we
yeah,
did.
somebody had asked me what is a chapter. So
Right.
you wanna explain to the people?
I mean,
Let
I
Breezy explain it,
okay, okay,
you got me on the spot.
and then you add on, P.
okay, okay.
So basically, the chapter is a representative of a certain borough, city. I'm not even sure. I actually had questions about this because I always wondered, because we were Zulu Nation at one point, why we were called chapters instead of called tribes. But that was a whole nother story that I learned. But basically, that's just how I thought. I figured we were nation. We had the whole African, you know, the whole African
It's
aesthetic,
a good point.
you
It's a
know.
good point and a good
But
question. Yeah,
it's funny because Bambaataa did answer that question for me, but could never remember the answer,
right.
you know. But
So, well, I'll tell you this, right?
mm,
From my understanding, and I'm gonna let you finish it, P. Right? The chapters were, to organize each particular city, area, neighborhood, borough, right? I believe basically you had all these different areas, right? You got to organize it because people got to be responsible in a certain area. If you just got everybody is under one umbrella and the Zulus in a particular projects, whether it be Bronxdale or Monroe Houses or Soundview, you got to have organization. So if we named ourselves the Soundview Zulus, right, we would probably wind up having beef with the Bronx River Zulus. People pick chapters so that it's away from the neighborhood, because then it also might expand away from the neighborhood. It's the same thing that I was told why Shaka Zulu was started, right? Shaka Zulu, because of the neighborhood thing and the projects type of thing, public housing, warring with each other, you have some Zulus that might have started infighting a little bit, nothing too serious, just based on the history of the rivalry between certain public housing projects, right? So they formed Shaka Zulu to get the strongest and the toughest brothers and sisters in each chapter, bring those strong individuals together so that when you bring the strong ones together in Shaka Zulu, the force, the chapters will never have beef again because now you just aligned the cream of the crop together, right? So you ain't gonna have the young reckless ones acting up, starting problems with another chapter when the top people in the chapter, the strongest ones in the chapter, are linked in a order, and they're Shaka Zulu. The chapters were to organize these areas. You know what I'm saying? So that's what my take and what I was told. You want to elaborate, P?
I mean, I definitely agree with that. From me just learning in my experience, it's 15 people less 10, 5 to 10 is a division, but it's 15 people. Um, you meet twice a month, you put dues together. And to me, I mean, I grew with that as my definition as a chapter. I remember when we went to the leaders meeting and I was
In
meeting certain
Miami,
bro in Miami, right? I was meeting certain brothers.
2003.
Yeah, yeah. And certain brothers would have like that's just how in New York, in out of state people, they might have 4 or 5 official Zulus and have like affiliates and things like their network, and that could be their chapter too. So as like an older Zulu now, I just kind of accept it too. But as for me and mine, it's always been 15 people, 10 or less or so is like a division. We used to have divisions amongst, and that's just separating like someone, and from my chapter has his group of friends in another area, so they'll get like that. At one point my chapter had about like 7 different divisions, but I mean we were the chapter 17. I think the name from the word chapter is used just from the gang aspect of like New York at the time. They're using chapters and things like that, but that's really what it is as far as my definition.
What
Yeah.
I liked about chapter numbers, right, is the fact that if your chapter is named after your city, um, right, I could be, let's say, from Brooklyn and say, oh, I'm from the Brooklyn chapter.
Right,
And
right.
all right, yeah, you from Brooklyn, but like, who is that? What is that? right? When you have a chapter number, now you saying something specific, right? So me in particular, I'm a part of chapter 25. I'm actually the founder of chapter 25, right? So when I bump into a brother that's in chapter 7, like Watt, or chapter 17, Just P, or chapter 7, Razor, or chapter 30 for
Mm-hmm.
Fats, if I say I'm a part of chapter 25, right? I'm not me, right? Somebody else. I'm a part of chapter 25. Well, Fats say, so what's up with L1? How he doing? Right? So they
Right.
know who's who, right? If a
Right.
brother can't tell you, I don't know who L1 is, but he's chapter 25, how
He
does he
ain't
not
chapter
know the founder?
25. He ain't
He's
chapter
not chapter
25 then.
25, right? If
Right.
I'm walking around saying I'm a part of chapter 7, but I don't know Zulu King Red, the founder, how could I be chapter 7? How could I be chapter 17 if I don't know King Lee or Boricua Mike, the two founders, or
Right.
King Biggs, the longest standing
Right.
president in the chapter, right? So these are things like, it's a way of organizing our organization, which is
Mm-hmm.
huge around the world. It's a worldwide organization, but this will organize us into smaller groups, and we know who's responsible, and you also know the lineage of that person. Like when we see the Zulu Gestapo, we know, maybe the public don't know, that those are the ass kicking Zulus. Those are the Zulus not to be played with,
Mm-hmm.
right? The G's,
Mhm.
right? They're linked to the lineage of the Gestapos in those streets organizations that we mentioned, right? The founders of Zulu Gestapo, um, Spider, right, was a baby Spade.
Mm-hmm.
Silver
Absolutely.
Dollar was a baby Spade. They grew up with Bambaataa. They came into the Zulu Nation with him. They brought in something from the street organization, and they brought it into Zulu, and it was kind of separate, and it was ran as its own entity. It's its own chapter, it's its own movement, it's its own entity within Zulu, and it predates Zulu. You saw all the ass kicking street organization members with the Gestapo on their vest. That was
Hmm.
the force.
That's a fact. Yo,
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Razor,
I'm saying?
remember when they wanted to make us Gestapo when we was in chapter 18?
Somewhat. Somewhat. I remember because I think it was at the height of the whole MOB thing.
Right. That was good times.
Obviously, that beef proved to them that y'all were worthy of having the name Gestapo.
That's a
You
Mm.
know
fact.
what I'm saying? And
That's a
when we say
fact.
Gestapo, that has nothing to do with Germany or Nazi. It was just
Right,
the tough MFers
Yeah.
in the street
right,
organizations, the
right.
ones
They were
not to
considered the
play
Zulu
with.
police.
Yeah.
Right,
And
right, right.
if you listen to Black Star, what's that song? The Definition.
Zulu
No,
war
not that.
chants.
With
Oh,
Standing on the
Standing on the
rooftop
Roof
with
with
the
the
Zulu
right,
Gestapo.
right, most deaf. I mean,
And
but
that,
there was a war chant,
yeah,
Zulu,
Definitely.
Gestapo,
Gestapo,
Zulu,
which was
and that's
Right.
another thing. That's
heavy
another thing
burn.
about the whole F.B.A. thing. Like these gangs had war chants too. Like if so, is that technically rapping? Is that not MCing to a certain extent? You know
Well,
what I'm
the
saying? Because
thing
when you
is,
watch the education of Sonny Carson and they about to go to war after Wolf and the leader of the Lords had the meeting before they fought, they were chanting. Both sides were chanting. So these gangs had war chants.
Oh yeah, the Black Spades
I
had
I
that.
mean,
They used to go to was it the Tonal with John Brown was a DJ? They said they used to say
right,
Spades Power. You know what I mean? Instead of soul power, they say
right.
Spades
In the
Power. They
movie.
say
right,
yeah, you know what I mean? Back in the
Yeah,
day
yeah.
when that
right,
chapter
happened.
18 had to call it a while.
Yeah.
That was in the
right,
movie.
right.
Yes,
And y'all had that Foxy Brown song that y'all used to love that Foxy Brown and a little West Indian song one day. But yo, the thing is that you keep bringing back that dude, right? Whoever with the FBA, like like a
Tariq.
couple of years ago, yeah, a couple of years ago, it to me it kind of started with like they used to get at Puerto Ricans for using the N word. And that was like a whole thing with Fat Joe using the N word, and all of a sudden,
Right,
so, you know what
right,
I'm saying?
right.
So now I think it's an easy way to get at that with hip hop because black and brown people are kind of more influenced when especially when you use like hip hop or something that relates to them. So I think it's an easy way using hip hop to just get his thing, his point of view across. As far as
get a
right,
platform, right?
exactly.
Build
Right.
that
Because
platform.
this it just trickled down to hip hop because out of nowhere it's before a couple years ago it was Puerto Ricans using the N word, and out of nowhere it's where were they? And then I seen and it's based on a technicality because in one way when Lord Jamar's talking about it, he's right because it's 3 years later when Charlie Chase or whoever, you know what I'm saying, got involved, he says. And that's 3 years, but it's 3 years, it's still the same time frame. So sometimes to me it's just semantics again to get a platform, and it's kind of easy just to stick and move with hip hop. And it's also easy to stick and move with the shortened TikTok era where it's clickbait. That's an easy click thing right there. And then boom, Lord Jamar hasn't been rapping since been rapping, but he's been able to sustain because he's doing things like this. And this is just another 4 or 5 months. And people like that, like you got your man that you're referring to. I don't even know him, but that's his entry or extension to, you know what I'm saying? And Lord Jamal,
So
like,
Is Lord Jamar saying he's FBA now, or he's aligned with
Well,
that?
well, there
technically,
isn't.
he
But he
said
said
he's
he's
FBA. He
further.
did say, yeah, but he said he doesn't. He said that's down the line. I recently heard him say technically he is FBA. He's in the
And that's
So
a
so
documentary. He's in the
and that's the
documentary.
thing. And that's like a pick and choose battle, like how
Right.
it's like a pick and choose because he technically is if he's African American. If he was African American with Arthur Ashe and February Black History Month and church on Sundays and that's black. And as as like a as like a younger person, almost a child, I remember seeing them kind of debating on the term black. Like it was black, it was Negro American, and then they argued and debate, and now it's F.B.A., which to me is probably because I'm not, to me, it defines where I can't be like my country, or I can't be like, yo, shut up, I'm so and so, or that's not me. I can't, like, I'm black even when I can't be black. You know what I'm saying? So when people
Mm.
ask me, like, I'm around Spanish people that all the time where it's all Spanish and I speak Spanish, or other, even West Indians or anything like that that's darker skin. The reason why they didn't want to use the color because there are people from other countries that are the color, so they didn't want to use that term. A lot of people didn't really agree with saying black because black can be Dominican, Haitian, which is fine. But when
They
people
want
ask me,
distinction. They want distinction.
right,
Yeah.
right,
They're trying
right,
to
Right.
right.
they're
And then
trying to
did
show.
did you see Cam talking about he's Black American was the best? He didn't even know Foundation. He wasn't even up on the F.B.A. He was just like, if I went to the Olympics, I'd be Black American because I'm black and he American. You know what I'm saying? It's a stigma kind of for black people to be American because but he's really American. But
You know what I want to see. You know
what's
what I
good?
want to see, y'all? I want to see the 5%ers address this because I see online social media they've been
But it's
saying we
real
don't separate the
simple.
seeds.
Cause
They don't separate the
you don't
seeds.
at all, but you do it understanding because like for me, like and I do this with my kids in my program. A lot of them kids be African and they'll come and then they'll use the slang. A lot of people do that. And it's like me, I'll be around Spanish people and I'll be of the culture, but I'm black. When people come to me about one person be like, what kind of black are you? And I'll be like, the black that you don't like, the black that I'm not black. And they immediately get that.
Mm.
Immediately get that. And it also shows me how they think. You know what I'm saying? So like, but as far as hip hop, that's just a way, because one, his name is not even like it's not even FBA sounding. It's sounding like
No,
Muslim or
it's
something,
actually
which is
actually that
Arabic
name
or
is an
something, right?
Arabic name.
Which is
I'm
fine,
Muslim,
which is
so
fine,
that's
which
an
is
Arabic
fine.
name.
Right, which is fine, but that's not like Clarence from the AME church, or you know what I'm saying,
No,
Jackson,
Clarence.
or which, and that's you know what I'm saying? So like that's a whole thing, and he just pick and choose where to get in,
Yo,
where he
this
fits
is
in,
wild.
Yeah,
and that's that, you know.
like Lord,
And they
Lord,
don't want to address this, that's why. So
but
they pick hip
exactly.
hop, which is the symptom. But they don't. But that needs to be, because you're just gonna get around. But then again, you might not get around because he's getting what he wants. So he don't really. It might never get solved, and he could just keep rocking. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Well,
the
I
Diddy,
work in.
documentary got banned. The documentary got taken off of Amazon by Joe Conzo, who is, for those who don't know, Joe
Yeah,
Conzo
yeah,
is
yeah.
a Universal Zulu Nation member.
Photographer.
He's
That's a
hip hop's
photographer, right?
first photographer. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
he's known as hip hop's first photographer. And Tariq Nasheed was using his photos
His images,
and
yeah.
he
Oh,
was using his
Right,
images
right,
in
right.
the documentary. So Joe Conzo, he been around from since day one.
day
So he's like,
one.
no,
love
I
that.
went to school with the Cold. He said, I went to school with the Cold Crush brothers. I was there.
Right,
I was at the park jams. It was always black and brown. What you're saying is
right.
incorrect, and you're using my stuff. So let me get this taken
I
off.
like that. I like that. See, now me, Lord Jamal to me is again. He looking for again. As far as I'm concerned, he's responsible for Vlad's success. That's why Lord Jamal.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Mhm.
so when he again, it's just another way for him to jump on. Like you say, he ain't rhymed in years. And I be telling people all the time, for the people, like Francesca, she's Italian, she's in the hip hop educational committee. Of course, people who are not black in hip hop, they have a real issue with, with Lord Jamal. But I try to tell, well, number
Right.
one, y'all, Lord Jamal, that is his market. That is what he's always done, for one. So I tell people that,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
But number two, I also tell them that, again, when it comes to this hip hop thing, like King L1 said earlier, a lot of people, especially my people, no disrespect, they harp on the rap part. So if you want to discuss hip hop, it for you, graffiti and breaking, those two elements, I'm sorry, that's black and Puerto Rican, and then whites was doing graffiti too. Even
Mm-hmm.
though, even though a
Mm-hmm.
lot of whites who were doing graffiti, I've learned, don't really want to associate
Right.
themselves with hip hop as much. I've noticed that. Now me
Right.
personally, as far as I guess the black thing, because I studied a little bit under the Moore Science Temple. I did a little bit of civics with the what you call in the private sector or whatever. So black is a color of law or whatever. We're not really black people. It's kind of something that was kind of given to us as a title in the first place or whatever. So I tend to not subscribe to that. And like I said, I'm not necessarily with the F.B.A. thing. I'm a diasporatic. That's how I learned personally, my personal information. I like going as far back as I can. And I like,
I thought I was raised too.
we are a people of unity. That is a
Right.
divisive move to me. No disrespect.
Right. It is.
And it weakens us
Absolutely.
as blacks in America
Right.
too, in my opinion. It separates us from a lot of people. You know what I mean? So I just think it's
Right.
a device. And I'm starting to think, no disrespect to Tyreek Nasty, I'm starting to think he's an agent, yo. I ain't gonna even front a little bit, man.
He could be.
That's the talk.
That's
That's the
He
talk
crazy.
right now.
moving
Yeah.
like an
So
agent,
yeah,
man. I ain't gonna even front.
yeah,
You know what I
he do
mean?
move
So
like an agent.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So
And
I
he
tend to
be on Vlad too. He goes on Vlad too quite
right,
often.
Mhm.
right. So we need. I
Mhm.
think we need to. I just think we need to keep our eye on the brother personally. I ain't
He
gonna
a
even front.
hustler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Word.
Definitely. Yo, this was a dope build, man, and I appreciate y'all brothers' time, energy, wisdom. You know what I mean? It was dope.
yeah,
And we'll definitely be having you on, again and again. Brother, we'll be looking to you for your wisdom, your
Definitely,
energy,
definitely.
you know what I mean? Appreciate it.
no doubt. I'm gonna start
You know
having
what I
y'all on my
mean?
joint too. I'm gonna get my numbers up. I'm gonna start having y'all on my joint too. So that's how
Yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah,
do it,
let's
yo.
do
Yeah,
it.
Let's get
please.
this.
Let's
Let's
do
get
it.
this
Anytime,
Let's
out
let
there.
do
us
Let's
it.
get it
know.
out
Yeah,
there.
let's go.
Yes, sir.
Let
Right.
us know,
Sir,
brother.
we'll do, bro.
Yo,
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
All right, brothers, man. So yeah, we'll keep on. We'll catch y'all. This is episode 2 of the
word.
Spears and Mike podcast with our special guest, Zulu King Fats. Go get
Good
that
looking.
off stage book. Holla at him. Fats Kirkman on IG. I got the book. It's incredible. You want to learn hip hop culture? Get the book off stage and tap in with the brother on Twitch. Him and his queen, they doing a lot for the culture. Tap in with them. You heard?
Appreciate that.
For
If y'all
real.
got any questions about today's episode, where can they reach you, L? Where can they reach us, rather?
They can reach us on the email for Spears. It's Spears and Mikes. Spears with a Z. Mikes with a Z. Spears and Mikes at gmail.com. Any questions, hit us. We'll address it in episode 3. No questions is off the table.
Yo,
You know what I mean? We're giving you the
we
real.
need t-shirts, yo. That Spears and Mike's crazy, son. We need a t-shirt and
Yeah,
and a
Yeah,
yeah,
you know what I
yes,
mean?
sir.
absolutely,
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's a,
eventually the spear is gonna hurt somebody. Um, words are weapons. but we're gonna stand on the truth.
True
And
indeed.
all the
you
time.
might not like the truth sometimes, but we're gonna give it to you.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Because we're gonna stand on our
Absolutely.
warrior spirit. We ain't gonna back down from giving you the truth.
True
You know
indeed.
what I
Absolutely.
mean?
True indeed.
Well, every
Appreciate y'all, brothers, man. And we're gonna keep it building.
All right.
Peace,
Peace,
all right.
peace,
kings. Peace,
Yep.
peace.
Akim.
Peace.
Peace.
I keep peace. Peace to the kings. Peace to the queens. Peace.
Peace.
Yo,
Peace.
just give me a couple minutes so we can upload. You heard?
Got you.
Yeah.
Salute.